how closely have you been able to follow this year's Tennessee team?
As closely as I can possibly follow. I mean, obviously, sometimes I have games too, but I mean, I usually keep track of every single game, at least the score or whatnot. Uh, I've been able to, thankfulully, kind of the regionals and the supers. The game times were a little different from, my game times, so I was able to watch, a few of those games, which was really fun. So I mean, about as closely as I can follow it.
What was your reaction to the win against Southern Miss on that late Monday night?
Oh yeah, no, that was awesome. Obviously, like you said, it was very, very late. um, but no, that was awesome. I was just happy for the guys. I mean, just because then you know that what that feeling feels like, and having a bunch of people that you know pretty well, being able to experience that. Some of them experience it again. Uh, it's pretty awesome. Especially after how last year ended too. It makes it even better.
You were obviously a very emotional guy out there. What was it like to see the way Chase Burns reacted when he came in and got that strikeout?
I thought it was just pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. Just because I mean, anyone who knows him, he knows that it's not really kind of who he is. Like, it's not like my bad. It's not like you'd expect that out of him. Um, so I think it was just, I don't know, it was awesome. I mean, when you're throwing 102 like that, you can kind of do whatever you want. So, you know, I love it.
And looking back to you guys on the 2021 team, what do you remember about the way it felt to go to Omaha and kind of qualify for the College World Series?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something we hadn't done in what 15, 16 years. So I think that was kind of something I want to say it was kind of like an unspoken thing that we all knew what we wanted to do. It's not like we needed to talk about it. We knew what we wanted to do. Um, but I mean, it's just a group of guys, honestly, just a bunch of winning guys coming together and, knowing what it takes to win on a day-to-day basis.
I talked to Jordan Beck yesterday, and he was kind of the memory's a little sour because of the way things went when you got there. How would you describe kind of the feeling of making it but not quite having the success that you wanted to have?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I think, Coach B talked about it one time. When you haven't been there in so long, right? It's like you get there, all you thought about was just getting there, and that's just a subconscious thing. You never really thought about going there. And, even once you flip the switch, right, you're like, all right, now we're here, we got to go win. It's hard to, really like truly flip that switch. And I think kind of for us, it was like the biggest thing was us getting there. And like, Jordan said, probably left definitely a sour taste in our mouth. But I think if anything, a lot of those guys that were on, that 21 team can use it as a learning experience for this year, hopefully. And, use it to help them.
What has it been like to watch the way this year's team kind of grew into their potential over the course of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's about as tough of a group as you can have right there. I mean, to go through what they went through earlier in the year, I would say it's pretty safe to say they're pretty battle tested, and there's nothing they really haven't seen. So I think, I don't think any coach would say that, that's how you want your year to go necessarily. I mean, I think every coach would love just a perfect year, rightfully so. But I think, we talk about like everyone talks. I mean, I think it's pretty cool to see how they kind of bounce back, and looking forward to watching on Saturday.
Knowing a lot of the guys that are on this year's team and having played with so many of them, did you know that they kind of had this in them and they were, a special enough group to make it where they are?
Oh yeah, I don't think that was ever a question. Not just for me, but for anyone in the public. I think it was pretty obvious that they were a very talented team on paper, and that their potential was, who knows what their potential was. The season isn't even over, but we knew it was kind of limitless, and I think now you're just kind of starting to see it, all come together.
What do you think it says about Coach Vitello that he's able to sort of keep things steady enough that even a team slumping here and there can still kind of reach that potential?
Yeah, I mean, he's he's the best, right? I know everyone says it, but it's true. You won't find a single player that literally won't die for that guy. So, um, I don't. There's nothing I would ever say he couldn't do or couldn't coach through. You could give him, um, honestly, give him a bunch of high school freshmen on a college team, and I wouldn't put it past him for that team to win games in a college baseball environment. So, I mean, that guy's the best. I don't really know how else to put it. He has his team ready to play every single day, and he knows what it takes to get teams the most out of each team, and he knows each team is a different flavor too. 2022 team is completely different than the 2021 and the 2023 team as well. So he knows that, and I think that's what makes him really good.
Almost completely different groups between 21 and 23. But is there anything sort of that reminds you of your team in 2021 regarding this year's team?
It's tough because it's just so much different. Like they're just completely different teams. I think I will say every Tennessee team has, at least the ones that I were on, and even watching this year, they have that fight in them. It's like that never. I mean, you saw it in the regional. Zane hit that 3-run homer, or that Friday night game against Vanderbilt when they came back on the bottom of the ninth. They kind of have that, like never game's never over until the umpires are off the field, and that's some Coach V always says game's not over until the umpires are off the field, and I think every team he has really buys into that mentality.
How important do you think it is with a kind of a young team or a team that had to grow into that role, that it almost by design they're peaking at the right time, it seems?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, like I said earlier, it's not something you necessarily, he would probably say the same thing. It's not something he probably, was like, this is what I want to happen. But I think when it does happen, like it is now, you're like, oh, okay, this could be a good thing, right? Like we've learned so much throughout the year, and we've been able to, grow as a team so much, and they face so much adversity too. Like I said, there's nothing that could really shake them at this point. They've been through the lowest of lows, and right now they're hopefully going to experience the highest of highs, right? So, I think I don't want to say it's important, but it's definitely something you're not complaining about.
What do you think this team's greatest strength is this year?
I mean, just from watching kind of with how the season going, I just think they're super resilient. I mean, like I said, you can't really shake them anymore. There's nothing they haven't seen. There's nothing they haven't been through, right? They get punched in the face. You can punch them 10 times, and they're gonna stand right back up, and they're gonna punch back. So, I would say that's their biggest strength. Obviously, they have firepower. They got a good lineup, great arms. But I think the biggest thing they have is resiliency.
And knowing that they were coming back with that pitching staff, is that kind of enough to make any team confident year after year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those arms are obviously as talented as, any arms in the country. But I think, for them, and I think they'd say the same thing too, probably like, I think kind of going through some like struggles early in the year, like that's not just going to help them now, but like now they know, like even just their whole career, like people obviously like going into the year, people are going to be coming after them, right? Um, so now that they have, kind of people coming after them, they know like now for the rest of their career, like you gotta just stay ahead. And I think it's just making them better now, and now they have, even more of like a chip on their shoulder to say towards the end of the year.
And last thing, how much contact have you had with the guys this year?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's obviously a pretty good amount of contact to an extent. Obviously, we both have so much going on. I mean, they're in the middle of the season. I'm in the middle of the season, but I mean, I still have some of my best friends on that team, so I would say we stay in contact at a pretty fair clip.
Did you kind of share any words of wisdom to the guys after they punched their ticket?
I mean, I don't know how much wisdom I can really give. I mean, we weren't there that long, sad to say. So, I think if there's anything I would say, it's just, if you really want to, I think, a lot of teams where you can get caught up is you want to get caught up in like the experience of Omaha. And I think the best way to get the experience of Omaha is stay there longer. And the way you do that is you win games. So it's probably the best advice I can give them.
Not too far removed from the program, just what would having success in the College World Series mean for Tennessee?
I mean, I think it's the next step as a program, I guess, in a sense. I think that's the goal for every program. Obviously getting there is one thing, but then, going there and, doing damage is the next thing, right? I don't think there's any reason, they can't do that. Obviously there's 7 other incredible teams, and, college baseball it seems even this year is pretty tough, even more than others. So, I think it would just be, I don't want to say necessarily the next step, but it would be a big step for, Tennessee. And I think, the fans are kind of dying to see that.